Hello friends, hi, and thank you for stopping by. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tafara, and can you imagine we've made it to the end of yet another year? Honestly, where's all the time gone? Because 2025 flew by so quickly, which also means it's time for another one of these media wrap-ups. If you stuck around my channel for a little bit, then you know in the first 2 years I did book wrap-ups, and then last year I did a 2024 favorites. This year, for the 4th edition, I figured we could just have a general conversation about media I consumed this year, not necessarily only things I enjoyed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's kick things off with the first category being film and television. I mentioned before how I don't have the time to invest in the plot of a movie or TV show, and I graduated. I got my degree, finished my last semester of university, and realized that like a lot of my generation, I have a fried attention span, and given a spare moment, I do have the tendency to doom scroll. This is something I'm trying to fix in 2026, but nonetheless, I also realized that a lot of things coming out in recent years don't really pick my interest, and I'm not going to invest the time to watch something if I'm not interested in it. With that said, let's talk about the first set of movies, being the Now You See Me trilogy, being Now You See Me 1, Now You See Me 2, and the more recent Now You See Me 3, or as it's known, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I think all 3 movies were quite enjoyable. However, the first one for me personally was the best one. I think the writers did such a good job of capturing lightning in a bottle. It was so captivating, and very rarely does a movie hook me and keep me hooked to the point of pulling a fast one on me and surprising me with the twist. Usually I find that I can easily predict what the twist is going to be and how a movie is probably going to end or progress, but this one I wasn't able to guess it. I was genuinely so surprised. The following sequels did have different sets of writers. I could definitely feel the difference, and because of that I didn't enjoy them as much as I did the first one. I think the first one to me is hands down the best of the 3. All 3 movies are definitely enjoyable, and would I recommend watching them? Yeah, sure, 100%. Next movie is a book to screen adaptation, and that is My Oxford Year. The only reason why I watched it is because it has Sophia Carson in it. And you will notice that this is a trend with me. I definitely watch something based off of the fact that an actor I know is in it. And you can't tell me that you don't do that too. I haven't read the book, so I cannot compare the book with the movie. Although watching the movie, it felt incomplete. A lot was missing and was borderline confusing. Again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know the full context. I don't know what scenes were left out, so I can't say for sure, but it felt to me like you had to have read the book to understand what was going on in the movie, so I didn't enjoy it for that reason. And honestly, a good book to screen adaptation shouldn't be like that. I feel like it should be welcoming to all audiences, whether or not you've read the book that the movie or TV show is being adapted from. And so I say all this to say that I watched it expecting more and didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but that shouldn't deter you from watching the movie if you want to. I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. The next movie we're going to talk about is an animated movie that was recommended to me by someone who deems this as one of their favorite Disney/Pixar movies, and upon watching it, it easily became one of my favorites too, and that is Up. I hadn't seen Up throughout my entire childhood, and I'm so glad that I watched it as an adult because I appreciated so much more than I think I would as a kid. This movie is truly phenomenal. It is just so beautiful. I love the art/animation style. I love the storytelling, use of score. I thought it was genuinely so beautiful. Every aspect of this movie was just amazing. Truthfully, if you haven't seen it, which you probably already have, it is quite old if you think about it. Truly, it's just such a beautiful movie, and I'm so glad that I watched it because it easily became one of my favorites of all time, and I will forever be indebted to the person that recommended this movie. Another animated movie I watched this year was K-pop Demon Hunters, which the only reason I watched it was because it was made by Sony Animation Studios, which is the studio that made the Spider-Verse movies, and those movies are my absolute favorite movies of all time. I trust Sony to make a good movie. Going back to K-pop Demon Hunters, I think it was a decent movie. The soundtrack, amazing. The animation style was so good. I really enjoyed it. I saw somewhere that this movie was initially supposed to be 3 hours long, and then they cut it down to what the current runtime is. After I finished this movie, I felt like I was missing something. I couldn't really put my finger on it until I saw people talking about how this movie was cut down to like an hour or something. But nonetheless, it was still enjoyable and the songs are so catchy. Solid movie, honestly. The last movie I finished this year was James Gunn's Superman, which came out in 2025. I'm a big superhero fan, love Marvel, love DC, but I think for a long time I was experiencing superhero movie fatigue in that every single one was all the same, and these are movies with multi-million-dollar budgets, but I felt like they were not hitting the mark. Honestly, the stories were basically all the same with a few swap outs, and I wasn't enjoying them. That's just my opinion at the end of the day. But this version of Superman felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like a new take on the superhero movie. What I really liked about this version is that it felt different in that you already know the story of Superman, you know his origin already, and it trusts that you already know this and doesn't take you through another origin story. It throws you headfirst into Superman's world and you're experiencing what he's experiencing and seeing things from in the middle of his world as opposed to starting from the beginning. And I thought that was very refreshing and made me enjoy the movie a whole lot more. Generally, it was just a well-made movie. I feel like I should also add that the reason I watched this movie in the first place was because I saw snippets of interviews done by the 3 lead actors during the press tour. Their chemistry was just off the charts. Their off-screen chemistry was so good, it made me want to watch the movie, and I'm glad I did because I was not disappointed. Their on-screen chemistry as well, off the charts. I also thought the cinematography was just really cool, so good start in terms of the film and television category. The movies I watched this year were not all terrible, so I'm glad. Moving on to TV shows, I tend to only watch an episode of a TV show when I'm eating a meal, and I heard that's not very good eating practice. Anyways, the first one is The Time Traveler's Wife starring Theo James. I saw a clip of the show on Instagram Reels and it intrigued me to find out what the show was all about. And I would say it's a pretty solid show. It does a very good job at expanding on the premise and making it interesting. Although there are some aspects of it that are kind of weird, I would say. I don't want to spoil it in case you want to watch it. Another aspect that I think was done very well is the time travel lore and sticking to the rules of the time travel, as well as explaining it in a way that makes sense. I feel that sometimes time travel related media can veer off into nonsensical territory where it just doesn't make any sense and they don't even stick to the rules that they set for themselves. It's definitely a good show to watch where you can half pay attention and just need something worthwhile to pass the time. This year I also got into anime. I watched Hunter x Hunter and Sakamoto Days. I really enjoyed both of these shows. I haven't finished them, but I am considerably far enough into them that I can talk about them. I think Sakamoto Days is a perfect slice of life. It's so cute in some moments, keeps you hooked, and genuinely so good. Hunter x Hunter perfectly captures the magic of watching cartoons on a Saturday morning as a kid, while the storytelling is complex and the characters are multidimensional, thus keeping my adult brain early engaged. It is just truly phenomenal. Both are such good shows in my opinion, and can't wait to continue entering into anime as the new year continues on. For my only K-drama, I watched My Dearest Nemesis, which came out this year, 2025. It was average, I would say. It was not the best K-drama I've watched. It had its cute moments. You know, it's just an okay show if you want something to pass the time. One of my favorite things to talk about, and one of the reasons why I even make these types of videos in the first place, is books. I read 2 books this year mainly because I was busy and, like I already mentioned, my attention span is cooked. But I am making it a priority in 2026 to get back into reading more books and to finish the books that I'm currently in the middle of. Starting off, we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And this is one of the loved books on the internet. And I think I should probably stop taking book recommendations from the internet. This is a mystery, thriller, young adult fiction. It centers on our main character who hangs out on an island that her family owns with her cousins, and she's the eldest daughter of this family. Something happens and she can't remember, she's sick. I'm trying my best to explain without spoiling too much, so I think let's just dive into my thoughts on it. I didn't really gel with the writing style. I thought the sentence structure was choppy, and perhaps it was written that way on purpose, but personally I didn't enjoy it. The main character was also not very pleasant to read about. She was quite selfish, and perhaps that is on purpose as well. The plot itself in its entirety is just average. I've read better books and I've also read worse books. The book also has a twist, and a lot of people were saying it is such a good twist, but I think it was such a cop-out. It reminds me of my high school English classes where my teacher would tell us, don't end your narrative prose with "it was all just a dream." It gives the same energy as that. So yeah, the book was not my favorite, and so I rated it 3 stars out of 5. On a higher note, the next book that I read was Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. It took me a little bit to get into it, but ended up being one of my favorite books. It definitely did what I want books to do for me, and that is to entertain me but also change my perspective and get me thinking. This book follows Amira, who is a babysitter for a white child. She is black, and it all starts from one fateful night where she is in the grocery store with this child that she babysits, and the security guard stops her and accuses her of kidnapping the child. It is from this point that the story opens up into a lot more. I describe more of the premise in a separate video. This book focuses on conversations relating to race in the US. I didn't want to talk about this book because it helped shape my perspective on day-to-day things that are said, things that happen, the way people act that inherently are prejudiced. It definitely sparks conversation and engaged my thinking because these are things that I probably would not have known. It did take me a little bit to get into it, I guess because I didn't really know what I was getting into when I started reading it. I feel like I'm not articulating myself the best when it comes to describing how much of an impact this book had on my thinking, but I do highly recommend you guys check out this book if you haven't already. Maybe it will get you thinking in ways that perhaps you hadn't before. I rated this book 4 stars because genuinely, truly is a good book and you should definitely pick it up. And now on to the final category, which is my other favorite thing to talk about, music. This year I discovered so many new artists and even rediscovered some past favorites. Overall, it was a good year in music, at least for me. Before we dive into my Spotify Wrapped, I thought it would be cool to talk about songs I enjoyed throughout this year. Essentially, if you were to take the headphones off of my head while I was listening to music, these are the songs that are constantly on my playlist rotation. Starting off with the handful of albums I listened to this year, we have Bird's Eye by Raven Lene, Fear, which is an EP by NF, Dangerous Levels of Introspection by JP Sachs, and What a Devastating Turn of Events by Rachel Chinoredi. These albums, front to back, are so good, no skips. These artists are so talented and create phenomenal music. Their songwriting prowess just impresses me day by day, and I highly recommend these albums. And now let's dive into the songs that I loved throughout this year, starting off with an artist by artist section because some artists have so many songs that I love of theirs. Starting off with an artist who everyone and their mom is now listening to, and rightfully so. She is truly a powerhouse, truly amazing, making buttery smooth, catchy tunes, and that is Olivia Dean. My absolute favorite song at the current moment is Hardest Part. The moment I heard the song, it's been stuck in my head ever since. Something clicked in my brain the moment I heard it, and I've been having it on repeat ever since. The other ones are So Easy to Fall in Love, Five, and Man I Need. Next we have Raven Lene. I enjoyed Love Me Not, the original and the collab version with Rex Orange County, Days, Genius, Pilot, and From Scratch, which are all from the Bird's Eye album. That album, I already said, is amazing. Next artist is Rachel Chinoriri, and my favorite songs by her are All I Ever Asked, the original and the version with Somber, Never Need Me, which is a very good crash out song, might I add, What a Life, which is so beautiful and tender. It celebrates the quiet moments of love, and her feature on Pink Panthers is Romeo. I also discovered the Marias this year, listening to their songs Heavy and No One Noticed on repeat. I'm excited to get more into their discography in the coming year as well. JP Sachs released 2 projects this year. From the latest one, I enjoyed Strangers with Teeny and I Can Say Te Amo. A past favorite who I rediscovered my love for this year was Fozia, and truly she is a once-in-a-generation talent. She is so good at what she does. Her vocals are off the charts I've been listening to her since high school. She recently released her debut album, Film Noir. Although I'm not done listening to it in its entirety, the singles are truly amazing. Porcelain, Unethical, and Peace and Violence. If you want a song that is hauntingly beautiful, gut-wrenching, a good crash-out song that is unethical, if there's any artist that I could highly recommend, it is definitely Fozia. The last artist in this artist-specific section is NF. In November, he released his EP, Fear, and off that project, my favorites are Fear and Give Me a Reason. The entire project as a whole is truly so good. And now on to the songs that I love that are not exactly artist-specific. We have Society by Valley, Purple Lace Bra by Tate McRae, Nights Like These by Benson Boone, Leve's Snow White, and Love a Girl. Honestly, Snow White feels like one of those songs where the artist definitely picked my brain and articulated thoughts and feelings in such a perfect way. It is truly an amazing song, and I commend her lyricism and songwriting. Roundabout by Sarah Kayes, Too Much and Whatever You Like by Dove Cameron. Whatever You Like is such a cute song in my opinion. The Man Who Can't Be Moved by The Script, Delete Yeah by Joe, I Love You I'm Sorry by Gracie Abrams, which is another song that is making a second appearance because I think I talked about it last year as well. 28 by Ruth B and Dean Lewis, Rescue by Strings and Heart, Class C by Neza, Oxygen by Geo and Del Mac, and Nobody's Son by Sabrina Carpenter of her recent project Man's Best Friend. That and Man-Child are such fun songs. And now finally, let's get into my Spotify Wrapped. This year I clocked a total of 14,419 listening minutes, which totals up to 10 days. I thought that was bad until I saw someone on TikTok with 200 plus days of listening. I mean, mine is a lot, but that is infinitely so much more than I did. My top genres were soft pop, Christian contemporary music, K-pop, indie pop, and acoustic pop, and I couldn't describe my listening taste better. Those genres describe my music taste to a T. Pretty accurate, if I do say so myself. This year, Spotify introduced a new aspect to the Wrapped being listening age, and my listening age is my actual age, so me and Spotify definitely agree on that. My top song was Love Me Not by Raven Lenae and Similar to Hardest Part by Olivia Dean. The moment I heard the song, something clicked in my brain and it instantly became one of my favorites. I have this song on repeat and can listen to it over and over again without getting tired of it. I've been listening to it this entire year. Again, similar to Hardest Part by Olivia Dean. I think that's going to be my top song for next year. Continuing on with my top songs, of course we have Love Me Not, then we have Genius, Love Me Not again with Rex Orange County, I Know Love, and Purple Lace Bra. I Know Love, I had a phase where I liked it and then sort of grew out of it pretty quickly. I wasn't expecting it to be on my top songs list, and it's also so funny to me that two different versions of the same song are on this list, but it's just that good. My top album was Bird's Eye by Raven Lenae. I've already talked about the songs that I loved from this album. I clocked 509 listening minutes. High recommendation from me. Other albums I listened to this year was Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo, Dangerous Levels of Introspection by JP Saxe, and Articulate Excuses by JP Saxe. I only listened to that last one once, but by the time I started listening to other albums, I think the data collection period for the Wrapped was already closed, and I've been listening to the same songs on repeat, so I can understand why the first 4 albums are in this list. My top podcast was Soju with Sarah, which is the same as last year. It is a really good podcast that I listen to when I'm doing household chores like laundry or the dishes. It is such fun conversation. With no surprise, my top artist was Raven Lenae. I made it to the top 0.09% of worldwide listeners. I was not surprised, and I'm so happy because truly she is so talented. And that wraps up my Spotify Wrapped. Speaking of Wrapped, it's time to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like. Comment down below what media you consumed this year, what you liked about it, and what you didn't like. And now it's time for the sappy message that I leave at the end of every single one of these videos. But truly, I always mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos all throughout the year. I am truly grateful for each and every one of you who watched, liked, subscribed, commented. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm wishing you all a happy and prosperous new year filled with joy, happiness, love, and success. This channel has grown so much in the past year, and I'm truly grateful for each and every single one of you who relate and connect with my content, because honestly I thought I was making content just for myself, but there's so many of you who are along for the ride, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you once again for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next video next year. Happy New Year! Bye!
falling to pieces in my room. Are you coming over? That's cool.